On Authentic Ag, we're in Manhattan at the Kansas Farm Bureau annual meeting. Our guest is Kansas Farm Bureau President Rich Feltz. We'll talk about what came out of the meeting. We'll also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, as well as updates from Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors.
Brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
And agricultural news from agview.net. In spite of a challenging 2019, farm earnings are expected to rise this year by 10%. However, nearly 1/3 of producers' net farm income is a result of crop insurance and direct government payments. That does include President Trump's trade aid. A report out of AgriPulse says net farm income this year projected to jump by $8.5 billion compared to last year, coming in at $92.5 billion. USDA's Economic Research Service says about 31% of that income due to crop insurance benefits and government payments. Net cash farm income, another way to measure farms' profitability, projected to reach $119 billion in 2019, a jump of 15% compared to 2018. Commercial farms, of which corn is the primary crop, projected to have a net cash farm income around $206,000 this year, a 20% increase from 2018. The average income is projected at around $97,200, down from just over $105,000 last year. And the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the nation's oldest and largest organization representing American cattle producers, reaffirmed its policy supporting voluntary country of origin labeling. Because the association takes the concerns of its members and stakeholders seriously, the Executive Committee unanimously approved efforts to work with the Food Safety Inspection Service, part of USDA, to address the agency's longstanding policy on geographic origin statements. Specifically, the NCBA is seeking solutions to the labeling requirements and verification procedures in place for beef products that are labeled as products of the USA and made in the USA or similar origin claims, which will resolve the concerns of beef producers and work at the speed of commerce, meet America's trade obligation, as well as prevent confusion among consumers. For several months, NCBA has been studying origin claims in use of some beef product labels, and during the summer business meeting in July, NCBA leaders formed a producer-led working group to examine the extent of the concerns and federal regulations governing such practices. Now, the working group has not yet determined whether such practices are occurring on a widespread basis, but concerns do remain that consumer expectations relative to beef product label bearing origin claims may not be consistent with FSIS current policy. You can find more on this and other information at agview.net. Stay with us, more coming up.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage.
Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
For a few weeks each year, historic Lecompton turns into a living Christmas village as dozens of volunteers, thousands of ornaments, and hundreds of trees come together to transform the Territorial Capitol Museum into a Christmas postcard. The spirit of Christmas engulfs the town and all who visit.
Merry Christmas from historic Lecompton.
And joining us now, Rich Feltz, the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, is just wrapping up their convention here in Manhattan. And Rich, you made it through a century, starting on year 101.
101, but you know what that means? That means that we've got 100 years of history behind us. So what a base.
It is. So we just completed the meeting. You just went through what to me is one of the best things in all the ag organizations is they start at the grassroots to work through the process of resolutions and policy. And now you've kind of got that game plan in place moving forward.
Very true. And our grassroots base is what we relish in our organization. It's what makes us what we are. And we're so broad based that we have to be dependent upon that grassroots. And as we get here, some that experience our policy process today, there wasn't a whole lot of fireworks in there. But a lot of that is because we have good solid base to our policy. Our input has started at the county level, and it's been filtered out before it gets here.
Well, it has kind of changed the days of bringing those ideas to the floor. You work it ahead of time and work truly at those county levels. And so by the time it gets here, it may have already made a circle around the state for people's input.
Well, no question about that. And that's the way our process works. That by the time we have our listening post here later in the fall, everybody has the opportunity to see what's surfaced up to that point.
So you say not many fireworks. Anything come out that of any major change in policy looking?
No change at all of significance at this point. But Ken, here again, I say that our policy is broad-based enough that it covers basically all the issues that come up.
So there are a number of things, and also we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the award winners and the counties. These counties continue to do a number of things advocating for agriculture.
Very, very, very true. And that's a big part of what annual meeting's about. Is one, I guess we could start out and say it's a social event to some extent. But it's to set policy and establish that, but it's also to make recommendations for those within the organization and those that are very supportive of the industry as well.
Absolutely, and so that is taken care of, and now we move forward. And so as we look at that, before we kind of talk about maybe looking at 2020, one of the big issues is going to be replacing a guy like Pat Robertson. Do you replace a guy? But we have about a minute here, and I know probably enough time, but just give us some thoughts, some reflections on what Senator Roberts has meant.
Well, I think Senator Roberts has made a great deal, not to just Kansas, but to agriculture across the country. Going to be hard to replace an individual like that. I know we have some good people that are going to be willing to step in those shoes, but the tremendous experience that he has, respect that he has, going to be very challenging to do, to fill it adequately. Yeah.
Rich Feltz, who's a farmer from Montgomery County and the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, is joining us. We're going to take a break, come back and talk about looking at 2020. We'll be back in just a moment.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage.
Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
And our guest this week is Rich Feltz, who is a farmer from Montgomery County and also the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, and just wrapping up their meeting in Manhattan. So, Rich, as we look at 2020, we talked a little bit about it. That means those even number years, election years, there's going to be a lot of focus on that and kind of who, if we do some shifting around, but there's still a lot of unfinished business, Rich, and it looks like as we look at 2020, a lot of those things aren't going to get done in 19.
Well, you're exactly right. We're seeing this almost get to an impasse, and as we get into next year, we know it's going to turn even more political. It has been, and it's going to be challenging to get anything accomplished.
Well,
we've got some issues that we know that we'd like to see, and on the federal side, USMCA is almost critical to us, and we keep punting, and we're almost to get our pump blocked, it seems like, at this point.
Well, that, China, Japan, all these are ever so close, but it is kind of one of those things where we think we've got a deal. We may have it in the morning. By the afternoon, that has changed, and I would guess that Farm Bureau members are probably like many and are just ready to move forward.
Well, there's no question. There's a lot of frustration around, irregardless of whether you're at across the country, what commodities you're dealing with. We're just ready to see get some action somewhere. And I think a lot of that, though, is as I refer back to the USMCA, I think it has to start there. If you're another country around the world and you acknowledge us as being a trading partner that can't have an agreement with your neighbors, how are we going to be able to fit into that agreement with those folks?
The Economic Research Service at USDA came out and said farm income is going to be higher this year, but over a third of it is coming from insurance proceeds or the MFP payments. While it's good to have those dollars, being able to pay some bills, that's not sustainable.
No, it's not. And we had Micah Taylor here from K-State Extension earlier in the week at one of our workshops, and she said what's getting agriculture in trouble is, yes, it's great that we can have some of these additional funding sources, but it's the input cost. As these commodity prices have been flat now for multiple years, we look at the trend line on input cost and they just continue to rise, and we're caught in the middle.
Well, and that is. It's one of those things that many folks say, if we're going to support one way, let's support another. A couple of good things. Maybe the livestock sector, we see some possible breakthroughs there. And one of the good news is that the Holcomb plant's going to be up and operating in just a few days now.
Very true. It's going to be good to get them back in production, and then we look at a little broader scene, the demand with all the issues that China has with the African swine fever and the demise of their pork industry over there, and now we got the opportunity to move some beef into that country that we haven't had in the past.
Before we let you go, I always like to get what was your theme when you spoke to the membership. You always usually have a good punch moving forward.
Well, my punch this year was that in my presentation, you're going to hear a lot about issues, you're going to hear a lot about policy, but it doesn't happen if we don't have relationships. So that was my theme for our group, is relationships with ourselves, but our elected and appointed officials are commodity groups, but we've got to have strong relationships. And I guess I'll even say maybe the media there as well. So.
Well, could be. Some of us may be a little friendlier than others. But Rich, again, thanks for your leadership in agriculture, and appreciate it. All the best to Farm Bureau in the year ahead. Thanks.
Well, and thank you for the opportunity to work with you as well.
Thanks. Rich Feltz, the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, has been our guest. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
Cope with the Kansas Corn Growers Association, and I'm here to talk a little bit about our corn schools coming up in early January. Our corn schools will be across the state, located in the 3 different regions, focused on maximizing your operations profits. The dates will be coming up on January 6th in Montezuma, Kansas, January 8th in Parsons, Kansas, and January 10th in Wichita, Kansas. We'd love to see you there. If you register early, you'll get a free pair of gloves, so check out our website for more information and make sure to get registered for the event. This year we are also adding our corn-fed beef seminar, which will be in Montezuma, Kansas on January 6th with the Corn School. So the Corn School will be running that morning, again talking about your operation and different agronomy practices, which is free and open to all industry partners and farmers, and then stay later to hear more about our corn-fed beef seminar, focusing on beef sustainability and of course promoting corn products in beef as well. Make sure to go to kscorn.com to check out our events in the corn schools and register, and we're excited to see you there.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me, let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
A significant impediment to U.S. wheat sales to the large Brazilian market is likely to end soon. Brazil's government has announced it intends to implement a tariff rate quota, or TRQ, allowing up to 750,000 metric tons of wheat to be imported duty-free from countries outside the Mercosur trade agreement. Brazil first agreed to this TRQ some 24 years ago when it joined the World Trade Organization. The Brazilian government is now moving forward with developing a final process and date for implementing the TRQ. Through U.S. Wheat Associates and the U.S. government, wheat farmers have worked and negotiated for several years with Brazil's government to open the TRQ and create a more open market there for U.S. hard red winter and soft red winter wheat. According to U.S. Wheat Associates President Vince Peterson, Brazil is a quality-focused wheat market, and its flour millers recognize that U.S. wheat can help them better meet their customers' needs. Opening the TRQ will give those millers more consistent access to our wheat classes while still having the option to source from other countries. That is how the market should work, and we welcome this opportunity. Brazil is the fourth largest wheat importer in the world, but Argentina and other countries in the Mercosur agreement have had a competitive advantage with mostly unlimited duty-free access to the market. Wheat imports from countries outside the Mercosur agreement, including the United States, are subject to a 10% tariff. However, U.S. Wheat Associates has always conducted activities in Brazil to keep its millers and bakers informed about the quality and value of U.S. wheat.
For a few weeks each year, historic Lecompton turns into a living Christmas village as dozens of volunteers, thousands of ornaments, and hundreds of trees come together to transform the territorial Capitol Museum into a Christmas postcard. The spirit of Christmas engulfs the town and all who visit.
Merry Christmas from historic Lecompton!
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Individuals and 3 businesses were recognized December 4th at the Kansas Livestock Association Convention in Wichita for joining in 1969 and now marking a half-century of continuous KLA membership. Those honored for 50 years of membership were Wilma Ackerman from Sabetha, Gene Hess of Scott City, Marcella Holbrook from Washington, Harry Latouche of Scott City, Donald Lonker from Medicine Lodge, Cattle Empire of Satana, Citizen State Bank in Gridley, and Stock Grower State Bank at Maple Hill. 6 members were recognized for attaining 60 years of membership. Those included Walt Fletcher from Lakin, Lauren Pringle of Yates Center, Don Smith from Tribune, Dwayne Walker of Canton, Ag Press, Grass and Grain in Manhattan, and Bar S Ranch near Paradise. All these members wrote their first KLA dues check in 1959. Wayne Jackie Leffler of Americus, who joined KLA in 1949, received an award for achieving 70 years of membership. The Kansas Livestock Association currently has 107 members who have been loyal to the association 50 years or longer. These and other extremely dedicated members make KLA a strong and viable organization to carry out its mission of advancing members' common business interest and enhancing their ability to meet consumer demand.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. Good news, bad news. The bad news first. After a challenging production year that is still up for debate on what the final production number will actually be, corn futures prices are still squatting in an area we're used to seeing this time of year. The good news, corn basis is much stronger by and large for this time of year compared to the last several for most areas across the country. Basis and futures are what make a cash price, and a stronger basis does mean on average we have a higher cash price across the country still today than this time last year. That's pretty simple to understand for most producers that have a grasp on what basis and futures are and how they work. However, it is a good reminder for all producers that basis and futures are the two components of your cash price and that they can and do move in different directions at times, with opportunities to be had separately rather than just doing a cash contract every time where they are combined. Cash is king, and there is something to be said for keeping things simple. But if you're marketing most of your crop without ever taking the time to monitor what cash, futures, and basis are doing throughout the year separately on their own, you are doing yourself a disservice. Being a good farmer year in and year out doesn't just happen. It takes hard work, time, experience, motivation, and a reliable group of people in your circle that you do business with. Being a good marketer doesn't just happen either and requires the same investments. And being a good marketer is part of being a good farmer. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
That's our show this week. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions, email me, kenrogers@gmail.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Authentic Ag.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss 316-945-6733.